I'm Dr. N. Murugan. I'm a hepatologist, which is a liver specialist. I am based at Apollo Hospital in Chennai. So I am a specialist to look after patients with liver problems. So my topic in this forum is to talk on liver failure, because this is a very serious and an important problem, and it is more commonly seen in the last few years. There are two types of liver failure. One is a chronic liver failure and the other is acute liver failure. Chronic liver failure is generally associated with a condition called cirrhosis of the liver. This is a serious condition where the liver gets damaged beyond repair. It is a permanent damage due to many reasons. The liver becomes hard and nodular. The size may change. Usually it shrinks and becomes smaller and slowly loses its function. The common causes for liver cirrhosis in this country and also in the rest of the world are excessive consumption of alcohol, especially if people are drinking on a daily basis and very large amount. Any type of alcohol can cause damage. Second most common cause is virus infection. There are two virus infections that affect the liver. They are called hepatitis B and hepatitis C. Both are long-term infections. They enter the body through the blood. Once they enter the blood, in many patients, it will go to the liver, it will live in the liver and cause damage. And over a period of years, which can vary from 10 to 20 years, the liver gets damaged and patients get cirrhosis. The fourth common condition is called fatty liver. Now, this is a very common condition and many of you may have heard about fatty liver. So thankfully, you don't have to be alarmed. Not everybody with fatty liver will get liver damage, but a small proportion, maybe around 8% of patients with fatty liver can develop cirrhosis of the liver. So all patients with fatty liver should be careful, should have regular screening, consult a specialist, get advice on diet and lifestyle management. Sometimes medications can be used. So if treated at an early stage, liver cirrhosis can be prevented. But in some patients, like I mentioned, around 8%, the fatty liver can progress and cause cirrhosis of the liver. So these are the common four conditions which will cover roughly 80-85% of all patients with cirrhosis. There are other causes which are little less common, and they include metabolic disorders. These are disorders that occur from within the body, allows copper and iron to be accumulated in the body and also in the liver and damage the liver. Other conditions are called autoimmune conditions. Again, these are conditions that occur from within the body and apart from affecting other organs can also damage the liver. And there are some other rare causes which may also cause liver disease. Once a patient gets cirrhosis, it is a progressive disorder, and gradually, as I mentioned earlier, the liver function will get weaker and weaker and patients will start having more and more problems. So the liver cirrhosis, once it occurs, it is irreversible. It cannot be reversed back to normal except very, very rarely. And patient will progress over a period of time, which can take anything from 8, 10, 12 years and go into liver failure. So the idea is, one is to prevent liver cirrhosis by regular checkups and maintaining liver health. And also, in case somebody is found to have liver cirrhosis at an early stage, they should take proper advice and treatment so that you can prolong the life of your liver to the extent possible. Sometimes even for many years, we can continue to keep the patient well without needing any advanced treatments. Cirrhosis goes through three stages. In stage A, patients are generally well and they don't have much problem, but they may need close monitoring and some treatment. That progresses to stage B and then finally to stage C. During stage B and stage C, patients can start developing complications. And there are many complications. I don't want to highlight everything. I'll tell you a few complications. Commonly, patients will have swelling in the stomach area, swelling in the legs due to accumulation of water. This is sometimes the first sign that the liver is damaged. Patients can have increasing jaundice. Jaundice can occur in many situations and also in liver cirrhosis, and it will keep increasing until you go for treatment. Occasionally, patients may have blood vomiting, so that can also be a first sign of liver failure and liver cirrhosis. They have this condition called liver encephalopathy, where due to the buildup of ammonia, the brain gets clouded. So in the early period, patients will notice slowing of the mental function. They will get a little bit confused, disoriented. They'll find it difficult to drive a vehicle. They'll find difficulty in writing, in concentration, and so on. Later stages, they can get drowsy, and in very severe cases, they can go into a coma. Infections are very common when patients go to stage B or stage C cirrhosis, and it can occur anywhere in the body, and it can be quite frequent. A common infection is in the stomach area, where there is already fluid. That area can get infected and patients can get very sick. And in stage C, the complications will be more frequent and more regular, sometimes almost on a daily basis. So once a patient reaches stage B or stage C, the treatment is mainly to reduce the complications and keep the patient alive and reduce the risk of death. But at this stage, the liver cirrhosis cannot be cured, and eventually the patient ends up requiring a liver transplantation. So as of now, that is the only treatment that is effective, and it is the best treatment for these conditions. And it can be done successfully in our country nowadays. So liver transplant becomes very important, especially in stage C, where the complications are very frequent, and some of the complications can take the life of the patient. So what we advise is, once patients start declining their function and the liver cirrhosis is starting to give complications, it is better to get an assessment for transplant as early as possible, because many patients wait to the very last stages of stage C and come when they are very, very sick, and many times transplantation may not be possible. So at the very early stage, when complications begin and the diagnosis of liver cirrhosis is made, that is the time to approach a liver transplant program and get an assessment to see whether liver transplantation will be of any help. Any time limit? Okay. The other problem that can occur in patients with cirrhosis of the liver is the development of liver cancer. This is not very common in liver cirrhosis, but it can occur, and it is much more common than in the general public, than in patients without liver cirrhosis. Thankfully, the liver cancer in these patients is very slow growing, and it takes several months or even years to grow to a stage where nothing can be done. So all patients who have cirrhosis or risk factors for cirrhosis are advised to have regular screening, usually with ultrasound of the abdomen and a specific blood test called alpha-fetoprotein, to screen for the presence of early liver cancer. If found early, it can be treated and even cured in many situations, either by removal of the tumor by surgery or by liver transplantation. And there are other techniques available which are non-operative techniques to control the liver cancer. So obviously a specialist team has to see the patient and decide what is the best course of treatment. But what I want to emphasize in this forum is that liver transplantation is a very good treatment for liver cancer. Many patients, public and even doctors are not aware of this, and they will say that because you have liver cancer, nothing can be done. But in fact, the opposite is true. Because you have liver cancer, it can be cured completely by liver transplantation. So immediately, a liver transplant team has to be approached, and a formal assessment has to be made as to the suitability of liver transplant and the correct treatment. So by and large, this is how liver cirrhosis is treated. And like I mentioned to you, once the liver cirrhosis has advanced to a stage where liver failure has occurred and complications are occurring, then liver transplantation is the final hope for the patient. I'll also briefly talk about acute liver failure, which is a different type of liver failure. Acute liver failure happens due to a sudden damage to the liver in a normal person, like a normal healthy person at any age, can be young or can be old, there is no age limit. Basically has a sudden illness which completely destroys the liver, and the patients get very sick. In our country, the commonest reason for this is infection, and viral infection like simple jaundice, hepatitis A, hepatitis E or hepatitis B, when it attacks the liver for the first time, can all cause this condition of acute liver failure, where the entire liver is totally destroyed, and within a matter of days patients get very, very sick and go into liver failure. and invariably go into a coma and end up in an ICU on a ventilator. In such situations, they have very short time to get better, maybe a matter of days, 3-4 days. And within this period, there is a group of patients who completely recover, come back to normal. There is a group of patients who continue to deteriorate and will almost certainly die. And in this group who deteriorate, they will need an urgent liver transplant or an emergency liver transplant to remove the diseased liver and place a new one so that he can be saved. Very often the disease that causes the problem is cleared, but the damage is left behind and the patients pay the price for it. Thankfully, this is not very common, but it can happen. The other main cause of acute liver failure in our country is medication-induced damage. Almost all medicines that you take are metabolized in the liver. Some are very toxic to the liver. Some are known for their toxicity, some are unknown. So, which is why as doctors we always tell the public, don't take unnecessary medication and don't take medication without consultation of a doctor, because sometimes you end up taking the wrong thing and end up with a problem. And if you have any coexisting illness or you are taking any medication, whichever doctor is treating you should be made aware of this. You should discuss the pros and cons of the medicines before taking it. A common example is TB treatment. TB treatment is well known to cause liver damage, and we recommend that patients who take TB treatment for the first time monitor the liver function on a frequent basis, usually every 15 days, to make sure that the liver is not damaged, because if the drug is stopped at an early stage, you can prevent the progression of liver damage. Many drugs cannot be mixed with alcohol, so you should be very careful that when you're taking these drugs, you should not take alcohol, because if you mix the two combined, they can cause liver damage. Even a simple drug like Crocin, I'll wind up?
Yeah.
Okay. So today I have discussed with you how to manage liver failure, both acute liver failure and chronic liver failure. Both can be managed to some extent by medical treatment and supportive treatment, especially if treated in the early stages. But beyond the stage when liver failure has actually set in, then the treatment is only supportive to keep the patient alive, but ultimately for both conditions a liver transplantation is required to save the patient.